Hello, welcome to YouTube and welcome to the LSO Masterclass for the Internet Symphony Eroica. My name's Patrick Howard and I play the tuba in the LSO, and I'm going to take you bar by bar through any of the problems that I foresee you want to consider before you present yourself to us in your audition. So the first thing to remember is you play a brass instrument, you've got to remember to blow it. And you must remember that the sign staccato doesn't mean the shortest note that you can possibly play. So if you look at bar 6, I beg your pardon, bar 6, you see these notes, 3, 4, and as you can tell very clearly, they sound very rude, very dry, and pitchless. Now we have to find a way of making notes that are marked staccato still have pitch. So put them first of all on the beat like this, 3, 4. And now off a beat, 3, 4. They're still separate, they're still rhythmic, and they're still audible in terms of pitch. The next thing you need to consider is that, for example, at 21, you no longer play at the same time as the trombone section. You play one quaver before them, and you really must make sure that the notes you play are absolutely precisely in time, because you need to go bar, and they go 3, 4, bam, bagadum, bam, bagadum. And if they wait for you to play, the whole thing will collapse. So be very careful from bar 21 to make sure that your entry on the downbeat and your entry on the downbeat of bar 23 and your entry on the downbeat of bar 25 is extremely precise. Most of the problems of playing a piece like this for a tuba player are really to do with playing in time and in tune with a good sound with other people. You don't have solos to play normally, but you do have an important function as part of the harmony and the rhythm of the group, and you must never forget it, otherwise you undermine everybody else. Again, be careful, the 7th bar of the allegro, you've got a staccato quaver, it's part of an E major triad, we must hear the E, not just a dry, nasty noise. Be careful of the rhythm, and bar 57, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, bar 63 it must be, where you go 3, 4, 1, bump, 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 bum, bump, 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 bump. Don't get faster as you crescendo, don't get slower as you diminuendo. You probably need to double tongue the very smallest notes. So let me now play the rhythm of the bar I'm talking about. I'll give you the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now with the crescendo, 3, 4. Be very careful about the next entry at figure 7. It's a semitone higher than the B natural you ended on. Count very carefully and make sure your first entry is clearly articulated and bang in time. It's very easy if you do that, and much harder if you don't. 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. There's a very high note at 90. Relax, because you've already played it an octave lower in the previous bars. If you're worried about it, just practice playing octave E's. And until you're good at that, don't attempt to play what's written. Because it'll be hard. But if you do the preparation first of all, you can make it extremely easy. And so it goes on. Be careful at 127. If you studiously observe the phrasing from a C natural, a dotted minim, fortissimo, slurred down to a B and then slurred to an A, you'll probably run out of air just at the point where the bass trombone and in fact the whole trombone section are relying on you. So I would change the phrasing and I would put a breath at the end of the dotted minim so that I can prepare a breath before the B natural and then go down into the E. Again, very, very simple thing to do. So really precisely articulated 130, 131, 132, 133, 134, 135, and 136. Now, if we look at the next thing that might make you feel uncomfortable, and shouldn't, you have a trill at 143. The musician inside you says play a whole tone trill, so that we play E to F sharp. The pragmatist inside me says don't do that. Play a semitone trill and practice it carefully. Like this, a tempo, 1, 2, 3. Not, because you're unlikely to get it even as cleanly as that. So a semitone trill, almost certainly. A big wallop at 1, 4, 3. Subito piano, and my recommendation is you leave the crescendo and the journey up to the note marked as high as possible, as late as possible. It's very fast, but there's a pause. So let me give you what I imagine the tempo might be. 1, 2. Now, those of you who've got perfect pitch will find it difficult to work out what note I played, and I'll be very honest with you, I didn't play a note. I sang it. It says here, play as high as possible. So you can play any note you like, and in the very top register of the instrument, sounds rather good, and rather better than, actually that was sung too, I can't get out of the habit of singing. And that's not terribly high, and it certainly doesn't sound very high. So on the recording we made, that's what I did. As I say, it's all about playing intensely rhythmically, really trying to play in a way that always establishes pitch, regardless of accents and dots and lines and any editorial marks. The brass section need you to lay down a pitch which they can relate to, which they can sit on. That doesn't mean you don't play short, it means you don't think that a short note is an inaudible grunt. It needs to have pitch. Organize your breathing. I've been playing the tuba for years and years and years, and my most useful asset is a pencil, and if I'm in any doubt about where I'm going to breathe, I mark it. And I try to mark breaths in a way that will add to the possibility of playing good music, rather than just to sort out me being old and tired. You have an audition piece to play. It does need to be something which is not in copyright. Now that produces real problems for us, because the repertoire for the tuba, the solo repertoire for the tuba that is, doesn't really exist until the 1950s. And of course, if it's 1950s, it's in copyright, and you'd be bankrupting your family and the whole project if you went down that path. So I stole a minuet from the first cello suite of Bach, and I tried to play that on the tuba. There's a whole host of music like that. Don't try and play stolen music as if you're a cellist or a flute player or a clarinetist, but do have a listen to the way a clarinetist or a flute player might play it, and have a look at the different editions, so that although you're not trying to be that instrumentalist, you are using your musical imagination to see how a good player might have played it on the original instrument. I hope those thoughts are of some use to you, and I hope you have a fantastic time in this project. Thanks very much.